Thank you for tuning in for what I call Meals for Moms. Today we're going to do a Cajun chicken and vegetable Alfredo. So let's go. Okay, so to season the chicken, we're going to do a Cajun seasoning. And you can go to the store and get some Cajun seasoning already put together. All you have to do is sprinkle it over the chicken and fry it. But I'm going to show you a quick way to do it. That way you can add whatever you want to add to it and take out whatever you want to take out. So we're going to first start with a little salt, about 2 tablespoons of each. And this is also based on how much chicken you're going to make. So you multiply the recipe by how much chicken you're going to season. A little bit of onion powder. We'll break that up. Garlic powder. Paprika. Thyme. A little parsley. Pepper. Oregano. I use a little bit of adobe. And the recipe called for cayenne pepper. I don't have any, so I'm going to use some red pepper flakes. Or you can use both. And of course y'all know I'm going to use my Sazon. And you mix it all up. Okay, so we have all the seasonings here, all well incorporated, all of our salt and thyme and parsley, looking pretty good. So we're going to just take this and we're going to sprinkle it over each one of our chicken thighs, and we're going to fry them on the stove, pan fry. Okay, so we have boneless, skinless thighs, but as you can see, they do not clean off the fatty areas. So after you have rinsed off your chicken thoroughly, you take it and you can put it on a chopping board and just lightly move the fat in the area here and just slice it right off. It's not very difficult. It's actually extremely easy. You don't need to get all this off because when you fry it, some will come off. And then some people like to use the fat for more juice in their food. So I'm going to continue getting off the fat of the thighs. Okay, so we have rinsed off the chicken. We have gotten off excess fat. Now we're going to just take it, season some of the chicken on both sides. You can pat it down, try to get it in there as much as you can. You can see where seasoning is needed. Again, you don't have to use your own fresh seasoning. You can always get already packaged Cajun seasoning. But doing it this way, you are able to add and take away what you see fit. If you want to use less sodium, add a little bit of sugar, feel free. I'm going to continue seasoning the rest of the chicken, and then I'll bring it back when it's time to fry. Okay, so all the chicken have been seasoned. As you can see, It is well seasoned. You see the paprika, the thyme, the parsley, the garlic, onion. It's all throughout each piece of the chicken. Want to make sure you season it well, because once you start frying it, it's a wrap. Unless you're adding a sauce to it, you won't be able to add any more flavor to this chicken unless it's a sauce. It'll fall right off. The rest of the seasoning you can actually discard unless you ensure not to put any of the, you didn't cross-contaminate. You didn't put your hand back in the seasoning, which I did. So this will be thrown out. And we're gonna now take this over to the stove and we're gonna begin pan searing the chicken. Okay, so we got some heat on the pan. You want it nice and hot so that when the chicken hit the pan, it begins to sear. You can always tell before you put your chicken in if it's hot. The pan will let you know if it's ready. And this pan is in fact ready. So you take your tongs and you place it in. Slowly, so you do not get it to pop back up on you, because that does not feel good. Trust and believe. Count that out the whole way. You can always maneuver it if you would like once it's in the pan, but I like to put it in the position where it's going to be so we can lock in the juices as quickly as possible. It doesn't take real long for chicken thighs to cook. So you want to stay with your pan. Okay. So I'm going to place these in and let them cook for about 3 to 5 minutes on this side, and then I'll be back when I'm ready to turn them over. Okay, so now the chicken is about ready to be turned over. Make sure when you're using chicken that has paprika or cayenne pepper, a red seasoning, it tends to make you think the chicken is ready when it's not. So just be sure that you see the crisp. Look around the edges. It'll tell you if you see the actual crisp and not you're not looking for the color in itself. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's completely done on that side. We're going to turn it over. You see here, I could use a few more minutes. It's fine. It's still cooking. I just want you to get a look of how it looks once you turn it over. See what I'm saying on this side? It's giving an illusion that it's crisp. It's not crisp. It's just a dark red color. There's a lot of chicken in the pan, so just gotta keep an eye out. Some will be ready before others. So now we're going to continue letting this cook for about another 5 minutes or so on this side, and then we're going to remove this from the pan. Okay, so the chicken is ready to come out of the pan. As you can see, both sides are nice and caramelized. So some pieces may need to stay. It's fine. Just take it, move it over as you take out the ones that you feel are ready. Okay, I'm going to continue cooking out the chicken, and then we're going to begin the vegetables. Alright, so this is the vegetables that will be going in our dish. I have green peppers, I have tomatoes, I have roasted red peppers, I have onion, I have some garlic, I have some peas and corn. Whatever vegetables you feel like you want to add in this dish, this is the leftover dish to do. It doesn't have to be broccoli. Everybody does chicken and broccoli Alfredo. It doesn't have to be that. It could be green beans. It could be snack, whatever you want, whatever you like to eat. This is what you're going to saute in this pan and add to your vegetable dish. So I'm going to chop this up, and then I will come back. Okay, so we got our chicken to the side. We have a large pot of water to the back, of which we're going to add a good amount of salt to, because this is where our linguine noodles are going to go. Now keep in mind, this is the only time you get to salt your noodles. So you really want to kind of over salt the water. It's just the water. It's not the actual noodle that's going to have all that salt in it. So that is fine. We're going to salt the water. We're going to add a little bit of oil to the water to keep it from sticking. And then we're going to start the vegetables in our seared pan. Alright, so I'm adding about 2 tablespoons of garlic to some oil. And our vegetables that you saw me cut up. The green pepper, red onion, tomato, and roasted red pepper. But I'm going to start with the green peppers and onion. If some of the vegetables get in the pan, it's fine. It's not gonna hurt. Just want to get. I'm going to end with the tomatoes. Tomatoes are pretty soft, so I don't want to put them in right away. So it's fine to get some of the red pepper in, but I want them to go in after the green peppers. So we're going to let that cook for a few minutes. The green peppers are getting softer, so we're going to add in some of the red onion and the remaining smoked fire roasted red peppers. Okay, add in the corn. Last, we're going to add the rest of the tomatoes and some peas. Okay, so I sprinkled a little bit of the pre-made Cajun seasoning all throughout our vegetables. Instead of using salt and pepper, I just stuck with our Cajun theme. This we're going to actually sit to the side until we're ready to incorporate that in our pasta. Okay, I have here basic linguine. Nothing special. We're going to take it, we're going to dump it into our water. Alright, so we're going to drain our pasta. Okay, so we have our noodles in the bowl, al dente, meaning that it's just not completely cooked, because we're going to recook them again once we add it with the Alfredo. Some people put oil on it, even if they put oil in the water. I just put a little bit of butter at this point, and then you just want to toss it in the noodle just to give it some moisture so it doesn't begin to stick together as it's in the bowl. So you just want to toss it around to give it a little bit of moisture while it's sitting in the bowl. Not a lot of butter, because you're going to add it to a sauce. So this is how I do it throughout the noodle. And it will melt pretty quick because the noodles are still warm. Alright, so our butter is incorporated throughout the noodle, and we're ready to pick this back up to put it into the pan to add it to our Alfredo sauce. It'll be a little bit more easier to lift up now than it would have been before if it solidified, because of the starches collecting together as it's set in the bowl. Alright, let's move on to the sauce. Okay, for our Alfredo sauce, we're going to start with some heavy whipping cream. So you're going to add that to your pot. Okay. I'm going to use 2, because as we know, I have a big family, so I'll be making a good amount of Alfredo sauce. Now, Alfredo sauce is whipping cream and cheese with also seasoning. If you have a family like me, you want to make stretch as much as you can possibly make it stretch. So I use half and half with my cream, so it still gives you the same taste. It's not as rich. I actually like the lightness of the half and half with it, and it doesn't cost as much. So I have about a little more than a half a pot, and I'm going to add a little salt to this. The salt is for flavor and also to help bring it to a boil. I'm going to add a little pepper to this. Not a lot. Now I have white pepper. Maybe I should have used that. It would be better to use white pepper so it's not seen, but we're all going to eat it. It's going to be fine. Black, white, doesn't matter. We're going to eat it all. And lastly, some parsley. Now usually you add parsley at the end, which you can, but I actually like the flavor infused in the sauce, and I will add some more at the end as well. So you're going to bring this to a boil. Always use a whisk. when you want air incorporated in the sauce. So we're going to actually bring this to a boil, and I'm going to add a little bit of butter into this, and then I'll show you how to add the cheese. Be right back. Okay, so it's beginning to come to a boil. Still got a little bit of time, but I'm going to add a couple pieces of butter in the pot now, and we're going to use the whisk again. Make sure it's all incorporated. Remember, the whisk is all about your wrist. Whisk, wrist. Don't do this. You're gonna have a mess on your hand. Take your wrist and spin it around in a circle. Try to, okay, as you can see, the pot is ready to boil over, so we're gonna turn it down some. Okay, you have to watch your pot. As you can see, just that quick, it can rise to a boil, especially when you're using a whisk to stir it up and you're doing it improperly, as you just saw me do. So you have your cream, you have your butter, you have your seasonings. The only other thing you need now is Parmesan cheese. Now, as I told you, I like to stretch as much as possible. Parmesan cheese can be a bit expensive. You can alternate between Parmesan cheese and your Italian cheese blend, whichever is on sale, whichever works for you. I'm going to use both because I have a good amount of sauce. You incorporate it in your cream slowly, and use your whisk, as I told you, slowly, and it will thicken up as you spin it around and as it melts in your cream. There we go. Once it begins to thicken, you can switch from a whisk to a wooden spoon, is what I like to use. I'll do that now. As you can see, if not, you're going to have your cheese begin to stick to your whisk. So, as you can see, it melted pretty quick. So no sooner than you begin to incorporate it, you can go ahead and switch to your wooden spoon. I'll continue adding cheese. Now I'm on the Italian cheese blend. Okay, you see here how nice and thick it's getting as it's melting down in the cream. You see your parsley. It's a little yellow in color because of the butter and the cheese. It looks like it is good and melted through now. So I'm going to have my niece Joanna come up and taste it and let me know whether or not it needs any more salt and pepper, because she's itching to taste it. So come on over. Just a little taste. Just a little taste. Just a little taste. We still got to put on my noodles. Okay, so our Alfredo sauce is done. I did add a little bit of garlic and a little bit more salt and pepper to it because when I tasted it, it seemed like I needed a little bit more salt and pepper. So I added that to it. We have our vegetables, we have our noodles, and our chicken warming. So you can do this family style in a pan, which I probably do because I have a big family. Or you can do a small pan. I'm going to show you how to do one plate. Starting with adding a little bit of butter to the pan. You're going to add some of your noodles. You're going to add a little bit of your vegetable. Okay. And you're just going to heat that up in a pan. And you're going to add a little of your Alfredo sauce. See here? That's the pepper. You're going to add a little bit of your Alfredo sauce to the pan. Heat it up together. Put it down a little bit. Add a little bit more vegetable to this. Okay. So you have your vegetables, your Alfredo. And your noodles, you're gonna take this to a plate. All right, and you're going to just pour it together on your plate. Okay. Next, you got your chicken here, your Cajun chicken. We're just gonna slice it a little bit. Doesn't have to be in any way, shape, or form. You're just slicing it up. Okay. You're going to slide the chicken on your Cajun Alfredo. And you can add your parsley if you would like to now, all over your plate. Presentation. And there you have it. This is Cajun chicken and vegetable Alfredo, all from scratch. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how you could do it family style. I incorporated our linguine noodles with all of our Cajun vegetables. I still have the Alfredo sauce on the side. You can plate it and then put the Alfredo sauce on the top with the chicken instead of incorporating it now, because it will swell and the noodles will suck up all of your sauce, and you don't want that to happen. So I just wanted to give you a good look at how it still would look. It's still separated, it's still nice and warm, and all the vegetables are throughout the linguine. So let me know if you try this recipe. Give me a shout out.